Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Double CC, no Chanelli. What's going on, you guys? Man, this live stream is not sponsored by Red Bull, but hopefully one day we can get up in there. Yo, Red Bull, cut that check. I need that check. All right, so this live stream is supposed to be all about possession. And we're going to get into it. Can't stay that long because I got to dip. I got things to do. Nah, I should have gone live a lot earlier this morning, but it was a pretty jam-packed morning. Anyways, we're here now. But before we get into all that possession shenanigans, man, I just want to say, if you have people in your life who are just there to just stir up drama, cause problems, bring stress and tension, cut those people out as soon as possible. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't hesitate. Act now. Cut those people off. Right? Doesn't matter if they're friends, acquaintances, especially if they're family. A lot of times we give family so many passes to just constantly just create chaos in our lives and just stir up problems because they're brothers or sisters or cousins, or they hold some sort of familiar title. And that's not okay. Set hard boundaries with people. And once they cross those boundaries, don't bend for them. I also have this story I want to share with you guys. So me and my wife, we had these friends a couple years back. And we used to hang out periodically. They were all right. They were a cool couple, right? I actually really liked them. And really started to think that the husband was really cool, and perhaps that could have blossomed into like a really good friendship. However, the wife, right, her and my very close, right, and over time, people always reveal who they truly are, and so we started to see more and more of who this young woman actually was, and mentally she just was not well. She had opened up to us about her past and the things that she had been going through. And as time went on, she would just, she was one of those type of people who just says too much, always talking, but always telling people like business and things that they shouldn't know. Right? Like when you're in a relationship, especially a marriage, some things, within your marriage just need to stay there. Like the public, even like your close friends and family, shouldn't know these things. But she was the type of person that really had no filter, and just immediately the first thought that came into her head, she had to tell. She liked to gossip a lot too. But like I was saying, over time, I found out that she was kind of a shisty person. Um, she would talk bad about her husband a lot, saying how, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that, but she would talk, she would trash this man. And one thing I learned very early on being in a marriage is that, like, this is your partner, this is your team. Like, you want to love, support them, and like lift, pick them up like any opportunity you get. And especially in situations where y'all aren't together, you always want to make your partner look the absolute best. So it was very weird just watching her just always constantly trash her husband every single opportunity she got. And it wasn't just with, my wife, her really close friend. She would do that with literally any stranger she just met. It was always, something terrible about her husband. To the point where, our view of her husband started to get jagged. But it switched for me at a certain point when I'm listening to these stories and I'm just like, this this sounds like too much, right? This sounds like kind of unbelievable, and I started to doubt her stories. And as time consistently went on, we found out, oh, she's actually talking to other men and cheating on her husband, and just trying to shift focus off of herself on her husband, probably because she feels guilty. Anyways, found out that she was cheating on her husband with multiple men in a very disgusting manner. It's very disgusting, to cheat on your husband or wife, but the way that she did it was just ugh. Like, oh man, I pray that no one is ever in that situation. I pray that I'm never in that situation, because man, it's one thing to, for your girl, for your wife, right, the mother of your children, to cheat on you with another dude. It's a whole another situation for your wife to cheat on you, bring another man in your home, in your bed, and hold your newborn baby. So when this information came out, right? And the thing is, she wasn't like, trying to hide the fact that she was cheating on her husband at all. Like she would tell other people, like, like, oh, he treats me so bad, so that's why I'm talking to all these men. And she would even take pictures and stuff. I saw a couple of the pictures because again, my wife was her really good friend, and I'm telling my wife, like, cut this girl off. Like she's terrible. We don't need this. And yeah, it got to the point where, like, once this picture got to my attention, I was like, yo, this is literally one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of disgusting garbage. But yeah, seeing, and it wasn't like, a super sexual, pornographic picture. It was just a picture of her, or really of the dude she was sleeping with, holding her newborn baby. I'm just like, man, that's terrible. Like, somebody should tell this nigga. Somebody should really tell her husband, because, you know, we're all in like this friend group together. How would you feel if, your wife or your husband was cheating on you? Just downright the lowest, dirtiest stuff, and everyone around you knew, except for you. Right, that would be a very shitty situation, and you would probably lose trust in like everyone, like friends, family included. Like, everyone knew except for this dude, and he's just happy-go-lucky, looking stupid. So I took the liberty. I was like, man, this is garbage, bro. Like, no one's opening their mouth, no one's saying anything. And again, mind you, like me and dude, we hung out a few times, right? We weren't like super tight. Right? I wouldn't consider him like a really close friend, but we were cool, and I like the dude. So I was like, you know what? I told him, I was like, look, bro, your girl, your wife is cheating on you. Multiple dudes. And I called him up on the phone, and he was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, wait, what? He was like, yeah, I know. Last night I just went through her phone. You know, we had this situation months ago where I caught her texting another dude, and she said, like, she apologized for it. I'm sorry, we had a whole thing, but we got over it. But he said, yesterday, I caught her again, texting another dude. And I was like, huh, okay, so like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, this nigga just found out. Like, okay, I don't feel that bad, blowing up his entire universe. But he was like, yeah, I caught her, and it was a crazy situation. And I was like, so you caught her texting another dude? I was like, is that it? He was like, yeah. I was like, So she didn't tell you like, she's been like smashing other niggas and like, there's like pictures and stuff. And he's like, what? Nah. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, bro. There was like, there's like evidence that she's like really out here in these streets, and there's multiple dudes, bro. Like at least three to my knowledge, and he was just completely just out of it at that point. But anyways, there's a lot more to that story, which I'll get in at a later time. But he ended up staying with her. I think they're still together to this day, which I completely understand because they had they already had two small children, and I think they have another baby on the way. So it seems like they really worked through their problems. Personally, I don't think that I would take a woman back after she cheated, but I understand the reasons why people do because you want to keep your family together. And in certain situations, if a person changes, there might be hope to establish a new relationship. But that's neither here or there. The reason why I wanted to share that story is to let you guys know that, like, if you see something, say something, right? Do what's right. Speak the truth. Speak out, especially if, people are doing wrong or there's an injustice going on. I saw a situation. I wasn't like directly involved with it, right? But I still felt like I should tell him because it is the right thing to do. And also, I always think like if I was in that situation, I would want someone to tell me into that. If you have super shisty people, super dirty, sneaky people in your life, cut them niggas out of your life immediately today. Anyways, to the topic possession. So a lot of people, and I know that's a crazy switch up, right? How we go from like cheating to possession. But yeah, I would say, definitely cheating, sleeping with people you're not supposed to, cheating on your spouse, you know what I'm saying? Just being a straight up bona fide hoe are definitely ways to quickly get possessed. R West, up here in this thing, my king, I'm back. All right, pause, complete pause. Yeah, please don't call me king, okay? I'm no one's. I'm only one person's king, okay? Yeah, y'all cannot call me king. That's a bit sus. Anywho, the mistake a lot of people like to do nowadays is label everything as some sort of demonic possession, but that's really a wrong way to like analyze, certain behaviors. Sorry, see that that's what I'm talking about, bro. Y'all can't call me daddy, bro. That's like super gay. And that's why you people need Jesus. Pause, bro. Super pause. But yeah. Anyways, there's different stages to demonic possession. But even before you get to possession, right? Everything you see that's like super weird, kind of supernatural behavior isn't always possession. There is oppression. There's obsession. There's vexation. There's actual possession, and then there's I think I'm missing one. The main ones though are diabolic oppression, obsession, vexation, and possession. And then you also just have normal temptations. Everyone here is going to be tempted. Our demons are always involved in our lives to a certain extent, constantly tempting us to do wrong. So that's like the normal diabolic activity that we're all exposed to. Is just general temptation. And majority of the time, demons don't really have to possess people because they're already involved in doing bad shit, right? So it's like, why would I need to like actually get inside of this human vessel when they're already doing the work for me, right? I don't need to possess someone if they're already a full-on criminal. Now, I mean, they can probably easily, more easily influence you if you're already on that side, but they don't necessarily need to like actually inhabit your being. It's only a small percentage of people that are actually diabolically possessed. Now, with possession, there's different levels to being possessed by a demon. So you have partial possession, full possession, and perfect possession. Yeah, absolutely, really weird, scary stuff. So partial possession, right, which we've seen most of the time in movies, is where hence the name, a demon partially possesses you. So a demon can be located in a certain part of your body, and that usually looks someone not being able to control certain body parts, right? They're moving and they don't have control of it because the demon has control of, say, like their arms or legs, and that's why they're able to have like superhuman strength, crawl up walls, but they're still conscious. They're still there. They're just not in control of a certain body part. Now, full possession is where, hence the name, the demon has full control of your body. But there's even a stage higher than that. But anyways, back to full possession. It's kind of like, I would say, like, if you've seen the movie Get Out, and like how he's like falling into like this black void. So he's inside of his body. He's just not the one in control. So you kind of fade to the background. You no longer are driving the car. The demon's driving the car. And then when you come back to regain consciousness, you don't really remember what you were doing because the demon was in control at that time. It's kind of like you go to sleep and the demon takes over your full body and does whatever BS that they want to. Who is Blood yapping to? I'm yapping to you, R. West, because you actually need this information, and 5 other people who are watching, and probably like a couple hundred other people who will watch this back on the replay. But anyways, so full possession, you go dark, the demon comes to the light, has control of your body. And with this, you pretty much lose all recollection of what happened while the demon is in control. You fade to the back. Now, with perfect possession, right? This is like the highest stage of possession, is where you and this demonic entity have an agreement, right? Y'all are pretty much working together. You submit your will to him, and you're still conscious. So you are fully doing this demon's will. They have full access to your body. Y'all are in, it's like a perfect symbiotic union. All right, you are like fully on the dark team. With the partial possession and the full possession, the reason why there's so much struggle is because the soul, the person, is in conflict with this evil entity inside of it, right? So there's still, a lot of hope that this person could be liberated. In a perfect possession, the person has fully surrendered themselves to this demonic being, influencing them in their life and being like in their vessel. Carmelo is on a massacre. Hey, yo, police, right here. Uh, You need to be on a police watch list. Says, yo, what kind of usernames do y'all come up with? R West says, I'm about to come. Uh, what's that nigga name? Oh, dude, I totally forgot that nigga name. The I'm about to come dude. The I'm about to bust dude. I hope you're not that guy, and I hope that you get some help because we saw what happened to the last dude who was gooning on camera in public. He got exposed and actually took his own life. He went scuba diving, and it's very unfortunate. See, that's another reason why y'all niggas, y'all need help. Yeah, y'all need Christ. Because some of y'all probably are, diabolically possessed with demons. Like a partial possession. Y'all niggas have no control of your hands. You have to goon. Right? You literally you have no control. You can't stop it. And then that's very sad because that's not a healthy way to live. But like I was saying earlier, in addition to possession, you have oppression, obsession, and vexation. We're not going to be able to get into all of these today, so I'm going to have to split this up into a part two. But we'll just touch briefly on vexation. This is something that happens more than not, but it's where like you know demons are spiritual beings, right? They don't have a physical body per se like humans, but they can take on a physical body if they're allowed to, which means that yeah, they can touch you, they can harm you, they can sleep with you, and that's why people have like bruises and scratch marks and bite marks. All of this stuff is very real. Now, I'm not saying when you wake up from sleep and you got like weird marks on you that's 100% from a demon. Maybe you just slept wrong on the blanket, so that's why we can't always attribute everything to a demon. That's the mistake that a lot of people fall into. They see something weird or off and they're like, ah, demonic. Oh, they're possessed. Oh, that's a demon. It's not always a demon, okay? Sometimes it's a natural explanation for things. So, even before an exorcist, a legit exorcist, does a real exorcism and gets a demon out of a person, there are so many tests that they run through before they actually perform an exorcism over you, right? They want to exhaust every single option to make sure it's not just like a psychological problem, or just some sort of, I don't know, disease or something that you have, some sort of weird behavior. So they they really exhaust every single option before performing the exorcism, because you never want to jump to, oh yeah, this person has a demon for sure, before you find out like, oh no, actually they have multiple personality disorder, or some other thing. Something else I was gonna touch on briefly, I completely forgot. It was actually important. Dang. Dude, that has been happening so much. Hold on, it will come back to me. I will remember it. Oh yes, okay, I remember now. All right, but like I was saying, everything is not 100% a demon or demonic, but there are, foolproof ways to tell if someone has a demon. Okay, if someone's just tweaking out like this, right? They may just be on drugs. But if you see someone, like levitating, if you see someone crawling up a wall, or like, just chilling on the top of a ceiling, I'm about 99.8% sure that they're being possessed by a demon. Okay, so yeah, there are surefire ways to tell someone is fully possessed. Also, if you come across a person like, and they're speaking a language which they have no knowledge of, like let's say you come across, this girl, or, like your sister, for example, and she just starts speaking Latin in a super deep voice, I would say, yeah, a bit of a red flag, okay? So those are like real indicators to let you know that, oh yeah, this person got a demon inside of them. Other than that, if a person's just like acting strange, or like, kind of tweaking out, I wouldn't just label them as being possessed, okay? That's a bit immature. So I see like, some celebrities online and they're like, just really weird behavior and like Cardi B, right? Everyone's saying like, oh, she was possessed. Now she may be possessed, but from the video and from other things that I've seen from her, you can't really give her that diagnosis yet because it just looked like she was just doing it for attention or just kind of tweaking out. A lot of these people who do take drugs, they pop mollies, they pop, psychedelics, and yeah, you tend to lose it a bit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're being possessed. But then again, like I said, if she was crawling up the wall, or if she started like chanting something in Latin and was like able to like actually communicate in another language, I would say, yeah, you need to go call up the priest immediately. All right, that is all my time for today. I will see you people later sometimes. It's gonna be a jam-packed week, so I don't know if I'm gonna stream every day this week. Sorry, not sorry. I actually have a life, you guys. I got stuff to do. I got things to do. I'll see you later. Go do something with your lives. And yeah, stay away from demons. Don't talk to demons. Don't try to summon one. Um, what else? Don't play with Ouija boards. Don't play with tarot cards. Go get you a Bible today. And if you don't have any money to buy a Bible, I'm sure you can just ask someone to borrow theirs. Or you can go on the Apple Store and download the Bible app for free. Boom. Pro tip. Ciao, ciao.